drop a thumbs up. I'm not going to be asking you questions on something outside or something too much. I'm asking you based on what we've done so far. So I have just 1 minute to do that. If I don't get anybody, I will pick people I want to ask questions myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nobody's dropping thumbs up. 9.5. Nobody dropping thumbs up. And 10. All right, these are the persons I want to ask questions. Let me look for them. Number 1, Thomas. Number 2, Real One. Number 3, Karim. Number 4, Cynthia. So I'm going to open a code base. It's a code that once in a while I do share this code base. I wasn't the one that wrote it. It was written by a Vietnam developer. So, but I use it to teach sometimes. And the main reason why I use it to teach is so that, oh my God, okay, I haven't logged in this thing since then. Let me. Just a minute so that so who wants to go first? I mentioned 4 names. Or should I still call who will go first? Joshua, what do you mean you hope you understand today's class? Have you not been following us? Something is wrong. It's still not showing. I had a student once. She said Bcrypt was not installing. So I think it was after 3 classes. She came down and said it has installed actually. 3 classes. So water, I don't know the mistake you'll be making, but we're going to look at it at the end of the class. So we see what is wrong. If you couldn't join yesterday's class, it's fine. You watch the videos, and I'm sure even if you follow today's class, you will still understand something today. Don't worry, just follow today's class. So I will go with the first person. That will be, was it Thomas? Thomas, can you see my screen? Please unmute. Thomas, can you see my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing your screen, sir.
Okay. I want to open this code, and then you just explain to me what's happening here.
Hello, sir.
Can you see? Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Can you see my
Yes, sir.
screen?
I'm just joining the class now, sir. I'm
Okay.
seeing your screen, sir. I'm just joining the section now, sir.
All right. Welcome. I'm just asking you a question. The question is,
Mm,
from what you can see on my screen, can you just explain what's going on this code base? Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you think is going on in this code base?
Actually, sir, I'm just joining the class right now.
Okay. It's all right then. Who else? Real one. I think it's real one. Real one is the second person. Real one. What is going on in this code base?
Okay, so that's a schema for a product schema. So this schema
Go
for a
ahead.
product, the product has image, prescription, category, and price. So for each one of it, the type is added to it. For example, the title has type of string, image too has a type of string, and everything is required. That means to create a new user, each of those data has to be there. You can't just create for title alone without adding images, description, everything. Everything has to be there and added to the database at once, or else there will be an error.
Okay, what's the name of the model here? What's the name of the model?
The model is product.
All right, thank you. So the next person is Karim. Karim, please, are you there? Can you explain to us what you think is happening here? The ad products. Karim, are you there? Is it Karim or Kiriam? She's not on the call. I need to be sure that we are all following. Okay, Cynthia, you would be next. Cynthia, you would be next. What's happening in this update product here? Why is everybody on mute? Let me check. Am I sure they're able to call? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead if you can see the screen. Just don't read the code for us. Just explain to us what is going on as a developer.
Okay, from what I'm seeing here, from the update product, I think a database has been given to it to there is a request made, which it is bringing back a response, and the response is coming with, sorry, excuse me, let me see the code very well. It's actually the small.
Okay, I'll
Okay,
zoom in.
so from there, from what I see, the update product has been the title, the price, and everything, and the database has been given so that it is having an async, and the information there has been given, and it has been given a try code, a try object, so that when there is a database, there is a kind of error that is being entered, it can. But excuse me, sir, I'm not
That's the
seeing.
error. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. About one more question.
I am seeing try, and I'm not seeing catch.
See, the catch is there.
Okay, all right, I've seen the
Okay,
catch.
but you've tried. But one last question. What parameter is being used to find the product that will be updated? From the code here, what parameter is being used to find the code, the product that will be updated?
Okay, I think that is the ad product.
Though the key, will I say the unique key or unique parameter that is used to find the product to be updated? Well, you've tried. I think I didn't get Karim, so I am going to ask Rema. Rema, from this code base, what parameter is being used to find the product that will be updated? Rema, are you on this call? From this code, what parameter is being used to find a product that will be updated?
Is it the request and the response parameter?
Okay. The code style is a little bit different. That is why you're finding it difficult getting the answer, but I understand. You've tried, but I understand. So Rema is not on Discord. Rema, let it not be that you actually hearing, you can hear me, but you don't know the answer. That is why. So I will ask one more person before we move on. Nathaniel, do you have an idea the parameter used to find the product that will be updated?
Oh, sorry, sir. I think I can see it now. Is the new and the true.
Yeah, this is doing something else. This is returning the current updated version. But there is, if you want to find a product, you find it by something. So what?
Find by ID and update.
So what is the parameter we're using then?
That is the product.
You just mentioned the method. The method is this. So if the method is this, then what is the parameter? The parameter is the ID. Now the difference here is normally you would destructure this ID, but in this code base is not being destructured. It just used automatic together like that. Normally we destructure it this way with the structure from the body, but here in the code base is not being destructured. So if you know that the method is a find by ID, that means the parameter you're using to find it is definitely the ID. That's all. But good to know that at least you can see a code that you did not write, and you can read the code and you understand what is going on line by line. That's the most important thing. Now, this is RESTful Basic API, which I did not build. I did not write it, but I do use it to teach. So, before we still move on, I would like to ask another one question, but not for the people that have already answered. Somebody else. So I will find somebody else. Now this is just on authentication, and it's going to be Karim. Karim dodged the last one, and she's not on this call. So that is fine. Let's ask Wisdom. Wisdom, we have a code to register. Now it's going to register users, and these are the lines of the code. Like I said, I did not write it, but of course you see what it is doing. So my question to you, Wisdom, here would be, what parameter is being used to find if a user account already exists? Wisdom, from this code base, what parameter is being used to find if a user account already exists? Hello, Wisdom. Are you serious? Yeah, I can't hear you. Wisdom is not here. Okay. Okay. So who else can answer? Can anybody just unmute and answer?
Can't you hear me? Here.
So from this code register, which parameter is used to find a user account if already exists?
That is email.
All right. That's email. Now this is fine. But in today's code, there is no point writing two emails. You just write one. Since the key and the value are the same and they are spelled the same, so there's no point spelling them out. But like I said, it's an old code, so I didn't write it myself. That's that. I think basically we get that. We can move on to something else. Our own. Let's start writing our own. All right.
Excuse sir. What in a situation where you have two users with the same email and the same name?
You can't have two users with the same email. You shouldn't allow that. Before you register or sign up anybody, you need to decide which one will be your primary key. Before you start registering anybody, one of the keys must be your primary key. So it is either it will be their email, their phone number, their NIN, their bank account number, BVN. There has to be a key that you will decide that this key, no two persons will use the same key. You can also do it with their names if you want. So you say you want to take their first name, last name, and middle name, and you say that there is no way two persons will have the same three names. Is your choice, but there has to be one key to identify every user. All right, so that being said, we can continue with, I think I already have it opened here. Auth, I think it's called auth, yeah. Okay, this is what we had. It's very similar to our codes, very similar. The only difference here is that we need to bring the final format, and that final format is what we call the MVC rule. So, but for now, everything is perfect. Registration. Now we're going to talk about how to add or how to send a user an email after registration. We're talking about that. But before we talk about register, do you have any question here on this authentic registration? Do you have any question on this registration? Please ask your question. Like I said, I will be giving out products. Sorry. How do I do it? Should I do it today or tomorrow? You know what? There's no time to waste. So this is what I'll do. In the project, for those who said somebody, yeah, wisdom, you dropped this digest term. Now this is, I don't know what it does. Maybe I do, but you have to explain a little. And you are picking only one project. Only one project. So what we are doing is we are 19. That is including me, right? So that means we are 18 of us on this call. 18 divided by 5, that would be, no, it cannot. If it was when I was in primary school, it cannot go. So let's say we have 6 different projects. 6 different projects. So you are going to pick a number from 1 to 6 right now. To 6. Pick 1 to 6. Now, any number you pick, and please, after we pick project, whatever we put in this place has to be for a project. So drop a number, pick 1 to 6. Now, there's every possibility that 2 people can pick the same number, or 3 persons can pick the same number. That is fine. 2 people can pick the same number, 3 persons can pick the same number. That is fine. But the case there is, I go through all your codes. So if 2 persons pick the same number, please, I don't want combined work. Now, even if you do combined work, I want to see a little things different from the project. So don't do copy work. Don't do that. At least post that from now till next class. You should see the products or the project you'll be working on. Now, but for those who have their project, if you have a project, please, you can drop it today. Today is like the last day, I give out my own project. But what you should know is that your project, you are going to be building authentication. That is part of it. That is like one part of your project for everybody. So if there is a question you have on this register, this is the time to ask it now. Ask it or hold your peace, because you're going into your own project. But if you don't have any question, let's proceed. Now we want to build the login. Sorry, let me format this. We want to build login system for users. So how do we build login, and how does I want everybody, if you don't drop a number now, please, I may not give you a project later. I may not. So, and also know the number you picked. You cannot change it. Just pick random. The project I've already placed all of them 1 to 6. So I'm not changing anything for anybody. It's already there 1 to 6. So pick your number and I start monitoring. No, drop it in the project, Juliana, in the project topic so that I see it. So what is login and how does the login work? App.post. We want to build login and it's called login. Now the login is a little bit tricky compared to other aspects. Res, and I know you should know all this part by now, async. And what do I want to do? I want to return a response. Now this is just going to be an empty response because I'm just setting up empty response with the status of 200 and .json, and then a message that will say login successful or anything. But you have to be consistent. Login successful. So I want to build an API that will be logging in users. And like I said before you start building authentication, you need to decide which one will be your primary key. Now, there are some applications you log in with phone numbers. There are some applications you log in with usernames. So you can ask them to create a username while they are registering. At the point of registration, you can ask them to create usernames. And also, there's a application you can sign in with what again? Phone number, email, username. I haven't seen the one you can log in with your NIN, but you can actually, there's always a first time for anything. So before you do that, you need to decide which one will be your primary key. And when you choose, you need to validate it. Validation means before you sign up anybody, you need to find that person. If that email or if that primary key already exists on your database. That is one most validation. So I have an empty login and I want to validate using middlewares. Last time, some person said they didn't understand the middleware. So my login is empty. What I want to do is open Postman and test the login API. And I am going to create this. It's going to be a post request. Okay, I'm not running my server. Am I running the server yet? Let me test. Local host port 8081 / login. And if I send, it's not running. So let me run my server. All right. So npm run dev. Hit enter. Server running on port 8081, MongoDB connected. So now it is connected, and I can send login. So login is returning back a response that says login successful. We're not doing any validations, but let's assume we want to validate. So what I can do is go to my, of course, I created a folder and the name of the folder is called middleware. I created a folder and the name of the folder is called middleware. Okay, now I'm recording. Okay, and I have validation. Like I said, 2 persons can actually work on the same project, but please, I want to see a little bit difference. At least I know that your naming or your names will not all be exactly the same. The name of your functions, the name of your whatever you're using, they may not all be the same, at least, but it will be the same project. You can also work together if you want, but there has to be difference. I want to see. So I know that one person did not work on the project and the other person just copy everything. No. So I have validations here. Now these validations, this is for the first one we did for registration. We can have another validation const validate login. Now, if you want to validate login, you ask yourself, what keys am I expecting from the user? So I will accept the request and accept the response. What keys am I expecting from the user? I'm expecting, for now, their email and their password. These are the two keys I'm expecting, and they'll be sending it from the request body. Now, I like the structuring, but not all developers would the structure. And I just showed you, but me, I like the structuring. So that way I can actually validate anything, and I know what I'm expecting and what I'm seeing. That is why I validate. But most times, some people don't. They just use the request body, everything in it like that. So I will say, if not email, if there is no email, I want to error. First, I need to create an empty error. Empty error. So I say const error is equal to an empty array. So if there is error, if there is no email, I want to error. Let's call it plural errors because it might be more than one. Errors.push. I want to push into it, please add your email. The second validation is if there is no password. If no password, errors.push, please add password. Okay, please add your password. Any sentence is fine. Now you want to check if errors.length is greater than 0. If errors.length is greater than 0, then you want to return okay. I just hope you're following me. 200 and a message or a JSON message, that will be the whole errors. So what's happening here is if the errors length, meaning this array, if the length of this array is greater than 0, that means if you have 1, if you have 2, you want to return a status of 200, and then the JSON message will be all the errors in this array. This is a simple validation for login. You can use this validation for so many things: creating products, creating drugs, creating doctors, pharmacies, creating appointments, anything. So, but you can't use it until you export it. And like I said, this is how to export more than one. If you're exporting only one, you just put the name here without the curly braces. But because we're going to be exporting more than one, we export them as an array. Okay. So I'll save this now. Now this is called a middleware because it runs in the middle. It's a function that runs in the middle between the point where the request was received or hit the API and the function that will handle the request. Now at this point, this is where the request hits the API. And then this part is the function that will handle the requests. That means the middleware will be here in the middle, and we'll call it validate login. So this is how to use a middleware. Now, if I go back and send, you see that I'm not adding anything in the body of the request, and it's returning an array of errors. When you say interface, now I don't think that is what interface is referred to. No, interface is you are just defining a pattern, the types of, for interface, you are defining the types of the variables, not really insisting that the user should send the variable. So when you say interface, you are defining the types of the variables to be used within your project. So the types. But if you say users should send you email, and they send you email, but the email is numbers, the validation will not pick that out, because your validation is only checking when there is an email. So the validation here is checking for when there is email, but not the content of the email. So it is interface that checks the type, the content of the email. But you can also do that in your validation. You might want to say, okay, check that the email is a type of string. Actually, let's do that. If you want to check emails, I will say regex to validate email. Where will I find the first one? An easy one, Stack Overflow. How can I validate email? There's a regex you can use to validate your email, meaning they cannot send you random emails or any string emails. It has to be real emails. Now you can find it on any website. That is why I'm just opening any website. So you can find a regex on any, and like I said, all of these things, they are writing it for the developers. So this is one. Yeah. So this is one. Sorry, this is for Swift, and this is for JavaScript. And I haven't used this one before. Let me find Stack Overflow so that I'll be sure that that one will work for me. So, okay. I have seen what I want, but I just want it to be put together in an easy way so we can actually use it. You know what? Why am I actually going to search when I already have it? I have so many of it. I can pick any one that I want. I'll go with this one. I think it's in middleware's validations, validation. Where would I find it? I find it in auth validations. I think so. Yeah. So this is one. I use it and it works fine. And if you have it, you don't need to create it again. So I'll keep one here. So what this does is I normally write it as an external function, because you want to validate emails in so many places. You want to validate emails before you send out emails. You want to validate emails before you log them in. You want to validate email before you register them. You might want to validate emails in so many places. So that is why I write it as an external function that I can always use. So, but this doesn't work here. So I will just export this here to valid email. And how do you use it? I'll come here and say else if not valid email, and then pass in the email. Control Z. Why am I having to stop? If not valid email, and then pass in the email. So error, I forgot to add you here. And then add an error message that would say email format is incorrect or something like that. Email format is incorrect, or you can say incorrect email depending on your message. So what it's doing is it's going to take this email into this function, and this is the function, run it through this regex to see whether that format is actually correct. If it's a good email, if it's not, it will tell you. And I will try one. Here is my postman. Please, if you have a question. Now, at this point, I want to believe all of us are good. Yeah, I am going to, you know what? Let me just share it with you first. I'm going to share the code base with you. Of course, I normally do. So you also have it. You will also have the code, but we can actually drop it here. Now, most of these codes I write for you, they are codes you will start using in your project, not your personal project. I mean, if you start working, there'll still be the same code you might start using in your project. So, but the most important thing is for you to be able to follow and you know what I'm doing, so that if you go through any code at all, you know how to find what you are looking for. So, but what I stopped for was if you have any question, I think please drop it in the question and answer. That is the only place I will be able to monitor it. So I will open my Postman and send that request again. But this time I want to add something in the body. I will add the email and I will add the password. So the email, I will just write something like this. Like I said before, your validation, this validation is just checking for only when the email is empty. It doesn't really check the content of the email. Now, it is this validation that is checking the content of the email. All right, Wisdom, go ahead. Please don't ask us how we are going to bypass a bank. Wisdom, go ahead. Ask us.
Okay,
While
sir.
we are waiting, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So far, what you have shown us so far, and then what you still show us, basically, this is how any backend works. There is anything different outside that of expecting.
What I'm showing you is how the backend will be now, but every developer has their own style. Every developer has their own style. Now, there are sometimes I'll be writing codes and I am in the mood, like I am really, really in the mood. I can break down everything into different pieces. I'm going to show you how to do that too. So you will see different codes with different patterns. Like the one I just opened now, the structuring, they don't do the structuring there. But it's still the same backend. I didn't write that code. It wasn't written by a Nigerian, but it's the same pattern. So if you learn one way and you'll be writing it this way, then that becomes your pattern. Now, there's every possibility that you'll be writing your code the way I write mine, because that is how you learned. There is nothing wrong with that. But that does not mean if you see somebody else writing differently, you will say, oh, that person's own is better than your own. There was a day, I think that was in 2022. Was it 2022 or so? Or 2022, I dared my students. I told them to go to the whole of GitHub and search for backend project. You will not see anybody who writes backend easier and better than I do in 2022. Now, I'm not saying that there's nobody who writes it. I'm saying the people who write it like that will not expose it for you to see. So they just write the real backend will not open it up for you to see. But those ones that open it up for you to see, they cannot be compared to what I'm writing for you. That's what I told them. And we did build some project and they didn't find this. Now, some persons found project, but it was difficult to follow through. So there's every possibility that you will be following my pattern, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't mean that's how every developer will be writing. No, you might come across people who write differently. The most important thing is to achieve the goal and your API is working. And if your API is working, there is every possibility that nobody is coming to your backend. Nobody wants to come there. The project, when it comes to taking over project, it is easier to take over a front-end project and start working on it. But if you take over a back-end project, there's every possibility that you will start from scratch again. That's what most people do, because some people feel like, why would I be bothering myself with the code that some other persons have written? And I'll be bothering myself to start learning it, except it's a company project that is not going anywhere. You cannot build it everything from scratch. Then you have to learn it. So this is how backend is. But just know that every developer have their own style of writing. And where was I? I was going to check this. So if I send this request now it is actually validating that there is an email, but it's telling me the email format is incorrect. So that is why it's very good to validate email. There is also regex to validate phone numbers. Nigerian phone numbers, Canadian phone number, any phone number at all. You can also validate phone numbers. But the email is very, very important because we are working with emails. The error code is not supposed to be 200. I think I did that mistake. It's supposed to be 400. You know, when you are building, please just bear with me. There's going to be a few small errors. The first day I got a job to teach coding. I was offered to teach coding. I quit that day. So why did I quit? They said I am going to build e-commerce from scratch and everybody will be looking at it on the board. And I'll be standing in front of them and I'll be building it and they'll be looking at it. Now I said that's not possible. Now I can build it on my own time, inside, as in on my own time when I'm relaxed, I can do it. But not when I have everybody looking at it and looking at me and I'll be writing the code line by line and they will be massive. No, it's not everybody that can do that. A lot of persons can write codes, but not everybody can write codes while you are looking at them. For example, I know designers, people who design, when they are designing, they don't like you looking at what they are designing while they are designing. Some persons who do graphics, they don't like you, or even mathematics, they don't like you looking at them while they are solving the maths. They'll prefer to finish solving the maths before they show it to you. So right now, we have gone past the basics of back end. We have gone past basics of back end. We are building real back end now. So believe me that even though that I've been building back end, there's going to be errors. There's going to be mistakes, just because this is not you are everybody all exactly water. All eyes are on you. So people will be looking at what you are doing. You'll be answering questions. You'll be coming back. So it's not as if I have a notebook open there, or you have a textbook where the screen is already open. You're just copying and pasting. No, we're building it real time. And this is how it's going to be real back end. So, but I will try to limit the errors. So, but if you see those errors, you should at least know that this is not supposed to be, because by now, nobody's a beginner developer here now. We are building real backend. And if I'm also very fast, feel free to use the mic. That is why I left everybody. Feel free to use the mic at any time. Call my attention. You are very fast. I don't understand. I want to ask a question, because I can get carried away. This is real backend now. This is real backend. So feel free to use the mic at any point. Pause me. I may get carried away. And I may be looking at it here on the screen, but I'm not seeing it. It happens. You'll be looking at the code, but you'll not be seeing anything. So we have this, and we are validating the email. But what we wanted to test was we want to test our middleware. So I will write.
Hello, sir.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I noticed that the valid email function, we actually made use of it before we declared it.
Yeah, it happened. That is because of the way we define the function. You see, the function is not an arrow function. So if you want to declare it first, then if you want it to be that, it must be declared first. That means you convert it to arrow function. We can actually convert it to arrow function. It's not difficult. We say const valid email is equal to an arrow function. Like this, we can do this. But the most important thing is where it's defined at this point does not matter, because you are exporting it. So because you are exporting it, it can be considered that this is coming from a different file, not really this file, because it's being exported here. So it can be coming from anywhere. But if you don't export it, if you remove it and you save it, it's going to tell you that it's actually called before. But there are some errors you should know that you will be encountering those errors, and I don't want to be encountering those errors. But you understand what I mean? Yes, it's going to throw an error here if you leave it like this. But because we're exporting it, now where it's coming from, where it's defined, doesn't really matter anymore, because it can be coming from anywhere, because we are exporting it here. So, but if you are not exporting it, it means you need to define it above here before you can use it in any of these files. And if it's a different function that is not an arrow function, you can also define it anywhere. So there are so many explanations for it too. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it make sense to you? Who asked the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I get it, sir.
All right. So we continue. If I send this request, now the request is hanging. The reason why it is hanging is because it has actually entered our middleware, and it has provided all of this for our middleware to check. And our middleware have checked all of the details, and they are all correct. So it is the middleware that will tell it to proceed to next. Now, proceeding to next means when it is done with this middleware will say next, or you keep going in this direction. So know that the request is coming from here. While it's coming from here, it will enter here. Now, it will not go to the function until this middleware is done with it and say proceed to next. Then it will proceed to next. And how do you say proceed to next? You take the next function. Sorry, that's not it. You take the next function, and then down here, now you can also do else. Some people do it, else, next. So it means that if there is error, it will return this, else automatically it will return this. But I don't most times. I don't. I feel like it's an extra. Why am I writing next again? Just put this here. It happens. So this also works. So that means if it runs from here, past this line, and it passes this validation, and passes this validation, and it passes this validation, automatically it will be calling on next to proceed to next. So now if I send this request, it will not be hanging. Rather, it will be returning our default login message. So I think validation should be clear now. Does anybody still have question on validation? Commenting the codes. We're going to try, but I will not make any promise. Validate email. Most times when you are writing code, you can actually be commenting it while you are writing, but some other times you may first of all finish writing before you comment. Validate with regex. Validate login. This is validate register, which we did yesterday. So I think with that we have the validation thing is done. Now let's move on to login, so that we can. Does anybody still have question on validation? Nobody does. Thank you so much. All right, on the login part, we want to start the logic for the login. We know that definitely they are going to be giving us data. If they don't give us data, our middleware is there to validate and send it back. So what we just do is accept the data that will be sent to us. It doesn't really matter. We know that it will be real data. .body. The second thing is to confirm if this person has an account with us. So we want to find this user if they already have an account with us. So we say const user is equal to await. Go to the users, I think that's what it is. Go to the users database dot find one. And what do you want to find it by? Find it by the email. So when you hear the parameter we are using to find something, you just look for anywhere you see the find keyword. Whatever is inside, that is the parameter you're using to find it. So sometimes you can be using numbers or not numbers. Yeah, phone numbers, anything. But what you're looking for is go find where the find keyword is. So if you see the find keyword, whatever is inside it, that is the parameter we're using to find it automatically. So here, if the user account does not exist, meaning if this returns empty, you want to return a response. Return a response with a status code of 404 saying that this user does not have an account with us, or please register anyone. User account not found. So that's like the basic. The next thing now is all right. So if you find the user account, the next thing you want to do is to compare passwords. So the password you sent to us and the password that is saved on our database, did the two of them match? That is the next thing you want to do. The password is sent to us and the password that is on our database, do they match? And you know that there is only one person that hash the password, and that is bcrypt. So how do you compare? You say const, either you say is matched or you say password matched, whatever you want to call the variable, you call it. So what this means that it's going to be returning either true or false. True, that means the password match. False, it means the password do not match. That's what you want to do. So what do you want to do? You call bcrypt dot compare. Now bcrypt is the only one that hash the password. So it is only bcrypt that knows how it hash the password, and it's also only bcrypt that can compare the password. So you put the user dot their password here, which is the one that was saved on the database, and then you add the password that was sent right now, like this. Or you can put this one first, anyone. It doesn't really matter. You can put this one first too, and then put this one here. The most important thing is the two things that will be here will be the two passwords that you want to compare. Now, when you see user.password, this user.password is coming from the user we found from the database. So this means this password is coming from the database. While this password is the password that was sent by the user in the request. So like I said, it doesn't matter which one comes first. The most important thing is that the two of them here should be password. One from the database, one from the request. So the next thing you want to check is if not match. If is not. That means if the password do not match. If the password do not match, you want to return a response dot status, and that will say maybe 400.json. So at this part here, you want to help users, or maybe you want to help your company, anyone. Now, you will not tell them that incorrect password. If you tell them incorrect password, it means that what if the person that was trying to log in is actually guessing the details? So that means the person has successfully guessed the email correctly. So the person has guessed the email correctly. So what is remaining is to guess the password. So what you do is just confuse them the more. Tell them incorrect password or email, one of them. So they will not know which one is correct. Incorrect password or email. Now this way, whoever is trying to log in, if they are guessing it, they will still be confused that we don't know which one is correct now, like that. So this is how to compare password and validate when the password is not matching. Like I said, I may not teach you all the whole logic in the backend, because backend, you have to do brain work. You have to think, outsmart the other person. Be very smart. Outsmart the other person, because that's the only thing that makes you a great developer. You keep learning. You keep learning new things. You keep discussing. You keep listening to people. When you hear about a website crashing or a mobile app crashing, don't be very fast to go and will I say, don't be very fast to criticize them. You see that this bank is not working, you rush down and begin to say, "Oh, this bank, thunder will fire you." Sorry for my French. You just start lashing out on the banks. You understand? As a backend developer, you need to find out what mistake was going on, what was possibly wrong, and then, because that is how you learn. You learn what possibly might have happened, and also see what the error message that was coming from it is. From there, when you are building your own, you know how to add your own. And also, you know how users are going to lash out on you if you make mistakes. So, like I said, there will be so many logic, and everybody have their own style. But this is my style. Oh my God. Thank you, Steven. I was supposed to add try catch. Like I said, try catch is very, very important. Don't build without try catch. Don't build without try catch. Sorry, I forgot. I was supposed to add it. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff you forget while you are building on the spot. The error here will be error.message. So everything will be inside the try block. All the codes will be inside the try block, but the catch will only return a server error only. So whenever there's any server error, anything, instead of the server to crash, it will just catch the error that wants to make it to crash and send it back as a response. No, you don't have to tell Bcrypt anything. When you install Bcrypt in your project, the Bcrypt you are using in your project is marked. It's marked with what is it called? With a version number. So this version number is what you are using. If it allows for you to hash 20 times, it will know. The moment you send back this password to Bcrypt, Bcrypt is just like some of you can have 2 signatures, 3 signatures, 4 signatures. If they send you any of the signatures, you will know that this is my signature. That is, if you are very good at signing 4 signatures, you will know this is my signature. This is how I signed it. So that's the same thing with Bcrypt. So once Bcrypt signs your password, it doesn't matter whether you hashed it 20 times. Bcrypt knows, okay, this is one of my signatures. So this is how I hashed it. So you're trying to compare if I now, there is another way some people do it, which I don't like. How do they do it? they will bring this password here. They will not ask bcrypt to hash. What they do is take this new password and hash it again. They will hash it again and compare the two hash if they are the same. Some people do that way. So they will just bring this one. This one is already hashed. So they will take this new password that is not hashed and hash it again and then compare if the two of them match. I don't do that. There's absolutely no reason to do that, except what condition will allow me to do that? I don't do that. I just don't. That's all. So that is that. Now, if it matches, this is the point where you want to give them access by generating tokens. You generate tokens. So it is that token. If you send that token to the front end will see that token, and we know that this person is actually logged in or should be logged in. So if the front end makes a request to log in users, what they are waiting for is for your tokens. They are waiting for your token. The moment they make a request to log in users, they'll be waiting for the token. If they don't see the token, they will not grant the user access to see the dashboard. But if they see the token, they will then grant the user access to see the dashboard. Now I'll take that again. When the front end can be mobile or website. When the front end makes a request to log in users, they will be waiting for your token. If they don't see your token, they will not log the user in, as in they will not direct the user to dashboard. They will not. But if they see your token, they will direct the user to dashboard. So you need to validate all of these and then generate tokens. So when you generate tokens, you are going to send that token to the front end. The front end sees the token and gives them access. It is that token that gives them access. So now we want to talk about tokens. This one is different. This is the one we did for our validation. Here, most times, sometimes it can be all correct, meaning there will be email and the email will be valid. That means this is correct. Sometimes also there will also be password. So it means that this will not always happen. This is only going to happen when one of these or either of all of these are wrong. Then you check if there is an error. How else do I want to explain it? But that's the easiest way to explain it. Now, the second one is try catch. Try catch is there can be any kind of error which you may not even know about. You may be sleeping in the house and somebody is trying to do something on the website or mobile app and it will crash the password, crash the whole server, and they will call you on phone. Say, please, server is down. Go. See what you will do and all of that. It happens to not like we've seen the cases where server crash, not really because of there was no try catch, there's try catch. Now so many things can cause server to crash, but try catch will help you limit some things. Those errors that are capable of crashing the server that will be from the user, try catch will help you limit them. So if that error is going to come from the user, try catch will help you limit them. But it doesn't mean that your server will totally be free. It will never crash. There could be other things that might crash your server. It could be you are integrating an external API that also can also crash your server. It will be you made changes and you deployed the wrong thing. Maybe one code or one command was there. It might also crash your server. So, but try catch will help you to limit all of those errors that might possibly be coming from the user, which are capable of crashing your server. That's how it will. So that's what try catch will do for you. So it doesn't matter the number of errors. If the error in the validation is just one, it will still return error. It has to be 0 because we are saying if it is greater than 0. So it has to be 0. 0 means there is no error. Before this validation will allow it to go through. But if there's any error, this validation will not allow it to go through. That's a policeman. That's like a policeman who has integrity. You're not going anywhere if they've done anything wrong like that. So we want to talk about tokens. There are different types of tokens, and tokens are very, very important, meaning nobody should see your token. Nobody, both the owner of the company, nobody, except is your fellow backend developer. So there are 3 types of token I like using. Some people don't use all of them, but I will introduce you to all of the 3. So there are 3 types of tokens. Now, the first one is an access token. Now, the question is, what is a token? A token is like when you want to sign a user's details, you pick the details of the users. You can decide to say, okay, I want to sign only their ID because I will be using their ID to find them. Okay, I want to sign only their emails, or I want to sign their ID and their emails, or you know what, I want to sign all their details. What that means is anytime the front end sends you that token, you can actually decode that token and you know the user that token belongs to. Let me take that again. When you are signing token, you can decide to say, I want to sign only their ID, meaning with their ID, I can find them. Or I want to sign their email, meaning with their email, I can find them. Or I want to sign all their details. So when you are signing a token, if that token is sent to you back, you can decode that token and you see the detail you signed inside it. So if you sign the ID, you can always get the ID from the token. If you sign their email, you can always get their email from the token. If you sign their whatever it's called, if you sign all of their details, you can get all of their details from the token. Why is this important? So that if somebody signs a random token and you are not able to decode that token, you send it back. You tell it this is not our token. Or somebody signs a token and you see that, you know that I used to sign token with IDs. I don't sign with phone numbers. But this token was signed with phone number. Therefore, it's not me that signed it. You send it back. So token is a very good way to add extra security to the back end. You decide, do I want to sign with only IDs? Do I want to sign with only emails? Or do I want to sign with all their details? And like I said, nobody will know. Nobody is supposed to know how you sign your tokens. So that if a hacker or anybody signs a token on the front end and sends it to your backend is supposed to decode the token and find out what is in the token. If what is in the token does not follow what you do, you send it back. No, that is not our token. But if the token follows what you do, then you grant the person access to any protected information. For example, what Wisdom was asking about. Wisdom was saying, can we build an API to increase our account balance? Yes, you can do that. To increase your account balance, you can do that. But before you increase the account balance, you need to be sending a token of who you are. So every bank, let's say everybody who's in the counter, everybody in the counter has a token that have been signed for them. And sometimes this token, not like sometimes, every time this token expires. Some token expire in 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 1 day, 2 days, 30 days. So it depends on the backend. The backend can say, let my tokens be expiring every time. But the whole thing is, when you want to make a request to increase the account balance, you will be sending a token to the backend. The backend, before the backend will respond to you to do that thing, it needs to take that token decode that token, know exactly who is asking me to increase account balance before it will increase account balance. So the API doesn't just do something randomly. No, it doesn't. It will not just go ahead and do something. You need to send it a token, and that token will contain your details, your name. It depends on how they are signing it. It will contain either your ID or it will contain either your email, so that if they do anything, they will know who did it. This is the person that actually increased the account balance. So if you work in a bank, you know that these bankers, they are very careful on how they type in numbers. Most times you can actually be in the queue and a banker will just stand up and take a walk. It's not that they are being lackadaisical about their job or they don't like it. It's because they are being very careful. Their head is full. They need to take a walk and then maybe just clear their head and then come back so that they don't type in the wrong thing. Because if they do, the backend will know who did it. Now, for cybersecurity, the company needs cybersecurity very well, but it's not all firms that have cybersecurity. As a matter of fact, the only reason why you are seeing me telling you all these details is because I have the experience. Not every backend person has the experience and tell you all of this. They're just building backend. Their concern is not about the security. But because I have experience, and I'm telling you, when you are building your backend, security should be at the back of your mind. As a matter of fact, you are the first cybersecurity person. If you are selling your backend to any front end or any company, you want to work with them. They are interviewing you. If anybody is interviewing you for a job and you bring out the security of the backend, those people will listen to you. The moment you mention security of the backend and give them techniques or 1 or 2 steps that you are very, very, very careful when it comes to security of the backend, they will hire you. They will hire you because everybody wants security. I think it was recently one bank was being accused that they leaked the details of the users, something like that. And they are saying it's not possible. And the only person who can prove that that is not from them is the backend developer. If the backend developer comes and says that is not from them, then that is not from them. But of course, this is Nigeria. Not everybody will agree. But we developers, we know. If the backend says it's not from them, it's not from them. I didn't mention that. What are you did? I did not do that. You did. So what am I saying? There are so many things. So let's just go ahead and create tokens and then see how to sign tokens. But please bear with me. Like I said, we are no longer beginners. We've entered the real backend project. So to sign tokens, you need a dependency, npm.js. Now the name of the dependency is called JSON Web Token. JSON Web Tokens. JSON Web Token is there are so many of them. JSON Web Token? Why did I put tokens? There are so many of them you can use, but this is by far one of the best. Now, there's another authentication you can build with Passport. Like you can build that with Passport. Or some other developers merge the two of them together. JSON Web Token and Passport together. Now, it doesn't mean that one is more secured. No. If the backend person is not taking precautionary measures, if you like combine 100 of them together, it doesn't do. So, but I go with this one. It works fine for me. It works. It works for a lot of us. We don't need to do much. Once we put our security steps in process and then hide it from everybody. We need to hide it. That is the most important thing. Hide it from everybody. Nobody will know and nobody can. Somebody asks a question, can another backend write a validation that will override your own? It's not possible. It's not possible. You can only override the front end, but you cannot override the backend, except the backend developer gives you that access. You cannot override a backend. So too much talk. Let's install it with npm install JSON Web Token. So I'm going to cancel this with Ctrl+C and npm install JSON web token. That is it. Hit enter. Okay, it might ask me to enter password. Yeah, it's asking me, but you don't need to enter password. So I will enter password npm id. So, now I have installed my JC web token. I am going to start my app again to be sure it's working. So, what are the types of token? The first one is the active token. And why is active token important, and when do you need an active token? When a user creates an account with their email, most times we don't save that details in our dashboard. Why? It could be that the email is not theirs, or maybe the email was wrong in the first place. So we don't save that email. We want them to validate that that email is their own. So what do? We are going to generate an active token and send it to their email. Now, to generate that active token, you will take all the details they send to you, everything, take all of it, put it together and sign it and wrap it with a token and send it to their email. So if they send it to their email, we'll do something like this. Let me say const. The active token will be something like this. www.youththrive.com/active/EY something. Now I know some of you have seen this in your email. It looks like this. So you see the name of the website here, and you see the name of the page here, and then you then see some random text. So that random text is the active token, and that active token is wrapping all the details you send to the backend. So if you click on this link, it is going to redirect you to the website. So that means the email is actually yours. You have seen the token. So what will happen is the front-end developer will take this token and send it back again to the backend. The backend will take it, extract your data from it, and save your data. Now that's long story, but it's not for everybody, not every time. It depends on what you are building, and it's also simple and very easy to do. We're also going to show you. I will. So that is an active token. So active token is actually generated when you want them to validate their email. Now, an access token, the name access means is a token that the front end will see and give you access to the dashboard, to any page, to any place. It will give you access. That is what this means. Now, a refresh token. If, for example, you are doing something, you are working on the website or a mobile app, the interface, the web page refreshes, or you go out and you come back. The refresh token there is a token that tells the backend that this person has been logged in before. So please generate a new access token for them. So if your website refreshes, most times it will log you out, because at that time it depends on the format that the front-end developer is using. If it refreshes, the token can get missing, the token can expire, anything can happen to the access token. So you can lose access there. But if there is a refresh token, the refresh token tells the backend that, hey, this person has logged in before. So there is no point going through another validation process. Just generate a new access token. So the backend will take the refresh token, decode it, and see what is inside, and then generate a new access token automatically, and you will log in. And that is what happens with Facebook, which is why I can't remember the last time I logged in with Facebook. It takes a bit 30 days or after how many days, something like that. And each of these tokens have expiry dates. You can set your active token to expire in 5 hours. You can set this to expire in, what's it called? 5 minutes. Now it depends. So just know that you generate token, you set expiry date. That's what it means. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will enter a random text here, and then I will enter another random text here. What is this random text? This is considered as my access and my tokens. These are my tokens. Now you can make your own random text. Very good. So what is this? This means that I will take this thing. If I want to generate an access token, I will take this random text, mix it together with the details that the user sent to me, and it will generate a new details. So if you are looking at the details, that is no point, no need going. Let's just generate. No need. But let me explain. So if you are looking at the access token, you will not know what the access token is. You just be seeing random text, random text. You can't decode it. The same thing with the access token. The same thing with the refresh token. So you can add symbols if you want. Add the symbols, just make it difficult. But the idea thing is, you are going to mix it with the user details, whether the user ID or whether the user email. But it will not look as if it is the email. It will not look as if it's your access token. It will just be random gibberish hashed together like that. So if you are seeing it, you don't know what it is. You can't decode it also. It is only the backend that created it that can decode it. So let's create or generate tokens. So what we want to do first is try and generate tokens. Should I? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch up where I stopped. I think I have. All right. So the first thing I want to do is to bring in JWT, or what we call JSON Web Token. I have installed it. So I'll call it JWT for short, but the full name is called JSON Web Token. And I told you what it is. It is used to generate the tokens we want to use right now. So the first token I want to generate, I will call it access token. You can generate all of the tokens the same way. The only difference is this text will be the difference between the two, all of them. So, but they are all generated the same way. This place is quiet. Please drop a thumbs up so that I know that you are actually here. Please drop a thumbs up so I know you're actually with me. Go ahead, drop a thumbs up. So I know you're actually with me. If you have a question, please ask your question.
Please go back to the top of your code, index.js, the top.
Are we okay? Okay. So it's only 4 thumbs up I got. We are waiting for. Okay, so let's continue then. So the first thing I said, like I said, you can generate all of them the same way. The difference there is that these texts, sometimes you can add these symbols, but the texts are going to be different. They will not be the same. This is your active token, access token. They will all be different. They will not be the same. So the first thing I want to do is to generate access token. How do I do it? I'll say const access token will be equal to jwt.sign. I want to sign a token for this user that is trying to log in. And like I said, you are trying to sign. So it needs 3 things. The first one, the second one, and the third one. It needs 3 things. The first one here is the details you are trying to sign. You can say, I want to sign the user._ID. So you are signing only their ID. You can say, I want to sign their email, user.email. Or I want to sign all the user details, everything in the user details. So that's the first thing you want to sign. The second thing is, what is this token? The token you got here. You want to sign it together with it. So I will say mine is coming from my process.env dot is called active token. So if you are signing active token, you use active token. If you are signing refresh token, you use refresh tokens. So the third thing is the expiry date. Expires in 5 minutes. You can put 30 minutes. You can put 1 day. You can put 10 days, however you want. So this is my token, and I will return it back here. So that's how to generate token, and I will return it here. So let's see if I'm actually generating a token. So, but looking at this, I'm sure you don't have any question. This is the details you want to sign. You can sign all the details or one details. This is the token you in your .env that nobody is supposed to see. Mix it together, and this is how long it should stay before it expires. You can say it should expire in 30 days is allowed, depending on the software you're building. If you're working on a financial app, or anything that has to do with money, although you will use sessions, to, not you, the front-end person will use sessions, but, well, it depends. 5 minutes is okay, 10 minutes is okay. It depends on what you are building and how you are building it. What function render it expire? I'm trying to understand this question. Ayo, what function render?
What I actually meant was by signing, telling the user the number of minutes is going to expire.
You are not telling the user. You are not telling the user. You are not telling anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that goes on the back end, you're not telling anybody. Now, you can tell the front end that this token is going to expire after so time. You can, but that is out of your church mind, if you're or mosque mind.
So what I'm asking is, what make it expire? Like, what will perform that function?
Now, this token, JWT knows how to set the token. Now, when he signs this token, it will sign it with a date, today's date. So if he signs it with today's date, and it will also attach to it this minute, 5 minutes. So if this token is sent back to you and you are trying to decode it, it will tell the token, this is when it was created, and this is when they set it to expire, and this time has passed. So therefore, the token has expired. So it's not as if it will go and expire it on the front end. No, if they send it back to you, you will decode it. The JWT will see when it was created and how long is set for it. So if it has exceeded how long is set for it, it will tell you the token have actually expired. Yes. You are to write anything you want here. Just make it however you want. You can put symbols, just make it, but you don't lose these details. If you lose it or you change it, it means people who have created no, it can also work. You can. It just means that the refresh token will be useless again. Any older tokens will not work again. That's the only thing. Yeah, but you can change these things if you want. Yeah, you'll be signing it every time. So that means if you're signing it every 5 minutes, you can always change it every 5 minutes. It depends. But write anything you want. So let's send this request. Send user account not found. So we have not actually created an account. We created an account for somebody. Let's find that email. Are you sure that this email, I used it to create an account? I just want to sign in with somebody's email that I've already used before. And the password I actually used to sign up. So let me not, the same password. This is the password. The same password I used to sign up. Otherwise, it's to say user account not found. Expected payload to be plain object. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is I'm trying to sign it, but it says this thing has to be an object. Yeah, because the three of them are object. So the three of them plain object. So I'll save that and try again. Now it assigned it, and this is the token. This is how the token looks like. You can't decode it. You don't even know what is inside it. If it's sent to you, you have no idea what it is. But this is called the access token. Now, the same way you do refresh token, the same way is the same thing, same way. The only difference will be the text. So to complete your login, you should also be sending back the user details. So as you are sending the token, you're sending the message, you're also sending back the user that just logged in. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you create a login API. Any question on now, do I need to generate active token and refresh token? The same way, it's just the same way, just duplicate them, and that's how you generate all of them. So, but I don't think I have to. But if you want me to, maybe I will. Do we have time? A little more time. So, any question so far on login details? Ask your question now. Ask question.
Okay, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to get the process of how the login works. Now, on the front end, the person fills his or her details and then click
Yes.
on login.
Send
Then the person clicks
or
on
login.
login, it back
Yeah.
end and does all our validations. Then
Yeah.
when it does the validations, where does the access token come in now after those validations?
Now, when you mean validations, I hope you mean validating both the email and also
Yes.
validating that the two passwords match.
Yes.
So if the email is correct and the email has been used to create an account, and also the password is correct and the two password has matched, what else do you want? There is nothing again now. You just give the person access because it means that the person knows what they are doing. Their email is correct. Their email indicates that they've created an account. Their password is correct, and the password matches the password that is on your database. That is all. The next thing you want to do is to generate a token for them. You generate a token, set the expiry date, and send it back to the front end. That's all. There is nothing you want to do again. Once you've passed the whole validations, there is nothing else to do. Just generate the token and send it back the token. That is for login. But for register is where you can choose to generate an active token. Yeah, you know what? You can also generate, because most times you might want to use the refresh token here. Most times. You might want to use the refresh token. So it's also advisable you can generate the refresh token the same time you are generating the access token. Now, because from my explanation, I told you that the refresh token will tell you that this person has logged in before. So there is no need going through all the validation. Just take the refresh token, get the details from it, and sign a new access token. That's it. So, but in some cases, we don't send this token to the user. We don't. We either save it to cookies, or you save it to the database for so many reasons. But it doesn't really, sometimes we don't use it. So it just depends. And you can also send it if you want, but you don't send it. Just leave it like that. The token you are talking about is not token. What you are talking about, Emmanuel, is OTP. Yes, as a backend developer, if you want to do something and you want them to use their phone numbers, you will not be sending them token to their phone number. You'll be sending them OTP to their phone number. So OTP is simple now. We did one called OTP. OTP is equal to what is it called again? Math dot random. This is where I made the error. Dot random times 100, and you can then floor it. Math dot floor. Okay, math dot floor and save. Now this is not for login. No, it's not for login. So OTP. Then I'll copy this OTP and maybe add it here and save it. So if I send this request, I get OTP. I get this. So now I'm getting OTP within the values of 2. So you can decide to say you want this to be 4 number OTP, 6 number OTP, how many numbers you want. So, but this is how you generate random OTPs, and then you save this OTP to the database so that when they send it back to you, you will find it and compare if the two of them match. So it is the same thing. Token, the same thing you do with token is the same thing you do with OTP, but OTP is generally used when it has to do with the user's phone number. Yes. Now, some websites use session. Session is this. Now, that's for front end. It has nothing to do with you. If I go to GitHub, because I am on GitHub currently, the token will not expire. The token is going to be, I'm going to be using it as I'm working here. I'm doing everything I want. I can log in here. I can stay on this side for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 40 minutes, 1 day. So long as I have not closed this thing. If you close it, once you close it, it's gone. That means the session has expired. Another way is inactivity, or when it has been inactive for a while, meaning you have not clicked anything for a while. You haven't clicked, like the website is just inactive. It's not doing anything. It will expire. That is used by financial institutions. So, but that's mostly an implementation that the front end will do. But you, for the back end, you can also do it. But the most important thing you can do for the front end is to set expiry dates to all tokens. So a website that will ask you to log in again, it could be that they are using session. You have closed the tab. The moment you close the tab, that session is expired. Or maybe you've not done anything. You have not clicked anything. It has been inactive for a while. They will ask you to log in again. But some websites do not really do that. They will allow you. You can even come back 3 days later or 4 days later and you are still logged in. So, but that depends on the logic that the front end wants to use. And also, you can also do it. If you set your token to expire in 5 minutes, it doesn't matter the logic that the front end does. After 5 minutes, the token will expire. If you set your token to expire in 5 seconds, it doesn't matter the logic that the front end builds. After 5 seconds, that token will expire. So we have done that. Yeah, you have a question.
Sir, please, can you come again with the explanation of the uses of access token?
Uses of access token?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From the name, access token, just from the name access token, you know that it is the token that gives you access to anything. For example, if you type in your email and type in your password, if the backend returns an access token, then the front end will direct you to a dashboard or to any page you want. That's number one. Number two, let's say you are working as a bank. You want to be increasing users' account. There's an amount in the account. If the front end does not see, if the back end actually does not see your access token, or the back end cannot decode the details that are on the access token, or maybe the access token has expired, the API will not do that thing. As a matter of fact, this is how we do it. We'll come here and we say, if not request.user return. Now for you will not going to get it because it's a little bit. Response.status 401 or maybe 402, anyone, .json message, and a message that will say access denied. So they'll say access denied, or they'll say invalid authentication. So the access token is used for so many reasons, for so many things. For the front end needs to see it before it will direct you to any page or any dashboard or anything there. For the back end needs to see it before it can perform any restricted operation, like deleting something, like creating a new thing. It needs to know who is creating that thing. It can be request.admin. They need to know that it is admin that is actually creating that thing. It can be staff. It can be doctor. It can be moderator. It can be anything. So it needs to see your access token. If it doesn't see your access token, it will not do that thing. Rather, it will return access denied, or tell you it's an invalid, or any message that you want. It just return back because it did not see the token, or it was not able to decode the token or something. Now, based on that, we're supposed to learn how to decode token next, but our time is up. We're supposed to learn how to decode token or how to send email, one of them. And next class has its own. Our next two class is the only classes we have left. Next two class. Can we learn how to decode token in next class? If we push next class, it's okay. Let me answer the last question. Okay, that's all. So any other question? This is not going to work for now, but I'll comment it out because for now we have not started decoding tokens. So it's only going to work when you start decoding tokens. So, but this is just how you log in. So any other questions? And should we continue or should we stop here? And
I still want to capture the way the token work, the access token work.
I have already told you now. See this token here now. You have sent it to the front end. If the front end sees it, automatically it will redirect the user to dashboard. That is one. Now let's say the person who is on that dashboard wants to do something. For example, want to delete a user details or delete something, or fund the wallet, as in type in amount for the backend to fund it. If they send that details, now as they are sending the details, whatever they are sending in the payload, whatever they are sending, they should also be sending the token with the request. That same token you sent to them. If they want to delete something from the database, or they want to fund wallet on the database, They want to do anything that requires authorization. This is more like before you do something in the office, you go to your boss will sign, it will sign for you on the paper. Once the boss signs for you, then it means that paper is now legitimate. That's the same thing with access token. If the front end wants to do anything on the back end, it must be sending the token together with the payload. The payload is actually what is in the request. That's what we call payload. Let me just write it here. Payload. So when you hear me say payload, I'm talking about everything that is inside the request body. So whatever you are sending in the request body, whatever you are asking the back end to do for you, some of them are restricted, not everything. For example, if you want to log in is not restricted. If you want to register is not restricted. If you want to find one user can be restricted. For example, it's not everybody that can actually open somebody's profile. Sometimes it's restricted. Maybe you want to see somebody's account balance. It's not everybody that can see it. Sometimes it's restricted. So if you want to do anything that is restricted, as you are sending the payload, you are also sending that token that the backend sent to you, which is this token. The first thing the API wants to do, not like this API, you are going to have another middleware. You're going to have a new middleware. The job of that middleware is to decode tokens, find the token and decode it. If there is no token, return it back. There will be another middleware that will do that. So, but the first thing you want to do is to check if there is a token. Before you even come to accept the request, you will not accept it until you see the token. And then you decode the token. When you decode the token, you need to know who exactly made that request. Is it the owner of the account that made the request? Is it the admin that made the request? Is it the staff that made the request? Is it another person that made that request? So you need to decode the token, know who made the request, and decide whether you want to honor that request or you want to turn it back. So that is another uses of access token. So access token can be used on the front end and the back end. The back end uses it to check authorization, if you are authorized to do that thing. The front end uses it to see that you have been recognized and the back end have recognized you. The back end has told me to go ahead and show you anything I want to show you. So that is the uses of access token. I don't know if that answered your question. Any more question? Any other question? No question. Some people are quiet. Cynthia is not on this call. Cynthia, is it because of the question I asked you from the beginning that I can't hear your voice again? Karim is not on this call. Karim is not here. I just hope it's done network issues. Who else is not on this call? Active token. Now, in order to recap active token, we need to actually send an email. So let's send an email. We're going to create a new file. We're going to call that file send email.js. So inside here, it's going to be called const send users email. That is the only way you will understand. Hey, somebody shouting, hey, it's taking too much time, bah. Sorry, do we end the class here or should I still continue? Yeah, I will share my codes with you. I will. Only one person said we should continue. Where is Shitu? Shitu Emmanuel. Where is Shamsuddin? Shamsuddin is not on this call. Is he? Is not on this call. Okay. Let me just explain. Or let me just explain the active token, and then we'll stop here. For the active token, whenever you want to create user account for the first time and you want to verify that the email is their email, you generate an active token and you send it to their email. If they click on that active token, it will redirect them to the website. The front end will send you back the active token. So if this whole step completes from the back end to their email, from their email to their website, and from their website back to the back end. So if the circle completes, it means that the email actually belongs to this person. That is what an active token does for us. Yeah, so I will share the code base with you. The codes are together, all of them, they are together. The authentication, the login, and they're all together. So I will do that with GitHub. But like I said, bear with me. We have actually entered we've entered backend proper. So it's called cohort 2 authentication auth. Cohort 2 auth, and it's public, and you will create. All right. So the first thing I want to, yeah, you have a question, go ahead.
I have a concern from your code.
Go ahead.
Because when the response that you were sending back, the access token was visible. Like that,
Yes.
those response, is it going to the front end to use? Or because from the initial listing, when we are doing some things on the front end, we're able to get to make that request and then make it visible on the page. So making the access token and then other things visible, is it those data, will it be used by the user, or they are making it accessible by the front end developer?
If you send access token and the front end developer takes that access token and display it to the user, please go and report him to the police. Go anywhere. In fact, sue him to court immediately. Otherwise, you will suffer for it. The access token is between you and the developer. As a matter of fact, the developer sees it only once. It's between you and the front end website. So you code your website to access token. If they display the access token anywhere, sue them immediately. Call the police. I don't want to say go and beat them up, because that's what I would do, but just sue them. That's it. So your access token is not supposed to be seen by the user. It's only going to be seen by the developer once, and that's all. Any other question? Any other? Yeah, you don't know that in this development process there is war. We fight war every day. The front end, the back end, we are fighting war. There's a project we've been working on so far, and the clients, the CEO and his team, they've already spent over 3 million naira, and the project is now complete. So I'm the backend on the project. I was handling the full stack, the website and the backend together, but they brought in another guy. So we're now like 4 of us together. Somebody was handling the mobile. So there's fight between the CEO and the mobile developer, and me, the backend, and also with the front end guy. The fight started between me and the mobile developer when I was defining my models. He was telling me how to define it. I said, no, that's not how I want to define it. I want to define it my own way. We are having issues until we went straight to the CEO, and the CEO said, if the backend said that's how it should be now, that's how it should be. And that was how the guy left it. So the fight now currently now is, then the second fight was with me and the website developer, the front end guy. We had our issues until I told him that is how I want to do it. You can't tell me how to do it. It should be like that. For so many reasons, it should be like that. And then he wants it. Now everybody wants it in a way that it will be easy for them. But sometimes, if they do it like that, the person who will take the hit is the back end person. If you build, I know a website we are working on. The guy asked me to send him my tokens, what I use to hash it. Why will I send it to you? If anybody is able to access data on the database, they will not call the front end person. They will not call the designer. The back end is who they will call. So as a back end, you don't joke with those things. Be very, very serious. Very, very, very serious. Yeah, the back end is the central controller. The back end is the central controller. So if you say no, except you change your mind later, otherwise that no is still your no. And you should, it's not that you want to do it arrogantly, or you are doing it for security reasons. For security reasons. So that if there's any error tomorrow, as a matter of fact, I don't do anything on the dashboard until there's a written letter, write and sign, go and delete this thing from the database. You write and sign, go and make this person an admin. Otherwise, you can't wake up on the phone and call me on the phone in the morning. Hello, David, are you up? Thank you. Please go to the dashboard, make so and so person an admin. It's a lie, it will not work. You have to write it to the letter, write it to pen and paper, so that if anything happens, I have proof that yes, you are the one that said I should do it. As a matter of fact, I didn't want to do it in the first place. You are the one that said I should do it. But that is not the same way with the front-end developer. If the front-end developer says you should do something, and you go and do it, and you say front-end, come and sign, the day they will arrest you, front-end developer will not come there. He will not come and say, I signed for you. No, it's the CEO or the HR, or somebody who is in charge that has to sign. Say, oh yeah, do it like this. But because nobody wants to take that blame, they will allow you. If you tell them, come and sign, they will not sign. They'll say, go ahead, sign, do it as you want. Just do it as you want. So they will not do it like that. So we're actually in the fight. When it comes to development, we're in the fight. But don't fight anybody. But I can, because nobody can beat me, but they can beat you. All right, guys, see you. But the issue here now is that we have a lot to cover. Not a lot, just a few things. I think we have just 3 topics to cover. The first one is how to send emails. The second one is how to validate tokens. The third one is the MVC rule, and we're done. Then you start building your project. So hopefully, I don't know if tomorrow on Saturday's class is going to be, but that's all. So I'm going to post from now to expect an assignment from me. This assignment is not your project. This assignment is for week 9. Your project will start from week 10. So, but within the period from now to next week's Friday, this week Friday rather, expect your project. I'm going to send you project according to the numbers. So you see the number you picked, you see the project you are working on. Like that. So, but I expect an assignment is not your project. It's week 9 assignment. Your project starts from week 10. All right, guys. So if you are okay to end the class here, you can drop a thumbs up so that we end the class here. You can drop a thumbs up. All right. Thank you. She have dropped thumbs up first, followed by Cynthia. Cynthia is already tired. Oh my God, the back end is too much. What are you tired? You cannot be tired as a back-end developer. You cannot be tired. All right, I believe you. I believe you. Steven is not tired. All right, guys. See you next time. I'll say next week, rather.
Sir,
Bye.
can you explain one more thing?
One more thing, like
I just want to get this thing on the hosting aspect. Like where you talk about hosting the back end on a different server, and then you have a mobile app working, someone else working on the mobile app. So how do you actually call the back end from the mobile app area? Because the code will be on GitHub. So if you are hosting the back end on a different server, so how do you call the back end from the mobile app?
I build mobile apps. Now it depends on the technology you're using to build your app. I use React Native, which is JavaScript. So I use JavaScript all through. Some people use Flutter. But if you build your backend and you test your backend with Postman, it doesn't really matter how they choose to call your backend. It's not your business. Your own is to build it, deploy it. Now, when you say hosting, you're not hosting it on GitHub. GitHub is where you store your codes. GitHub is not the cloud that will be running your server. GitHub is where you store your codes. You are going to be hosting it on a cloud, either AWS. Where's the other one? I can't remember right now. Any of those ones, DigitalOcean, Heroku, Render. I'll also teach you how to deploy too. So any of them, you pick on any of them and you deploy. So it doesn't concern you how they want to call it. Your own is to make sure that it is working with Postman and working very well and sending the right data. That's all. If it's sending data, fine. How they want to call it on their application is none of your choice because you don't know the technology they are working with. I might be working with React Native, and that person will be working with Flutter, and that person will be working with with Swift or Java, different ways. It's none of your business. Your backend returns the right information. That is the most important thing. And it's not GitHub you'll be hosting it. It's on the cloud. All right, bye. Did that answer your question, Wisdom? Wisdom, did that answer your question? All right. Bye.